everyone. So it is Thursday. I'm here for my weekly counseling appointment and have a few minutes and wanted to do a video talking about kind of an overview of my experience nursing my son Lex, who is 17 months now and has officially fully weaned. He was the one who decided that he was done. So I just kind of wanted to talk about the whole experience, our whole nursing relationship, the struggles that we had, the positives, the negatives, all of that kind of stuff, and kind of my feelings now that we're done. So we had kind of a rough start with nursing. It didn't seem rough at first. It was kind of a difficult birth, which I still haven't done a full story on, and honestly I don't know at this point if that's going to happen, but it's still on my to-do list and in the back of my mind. And things seemed to be good, and then when he was 6 days old, we went back to the hospital for a follow-up. The hospital that I gave birth at does a family follow-up appointment, usually like a few days after you get out, but that was the weekend, so we went in. He was born on a Tuesday. We went in the following Monday, and he had lost almost 10% of his birth weight. He was born at 7 pounds 12.5 ounces, and I don't remember what he had dropped down to, but maybe like 7 pounds, even something around there. So he had lost almost 10% of his birth weight. And the nurse, who was the one who does the follow-up appointments, was concerned. Like, not hugely concerned, but definitely, it raised a red flag for her. And we had our appointment with our family doctor for Lex at the end of that week, and she urged us to call and try to get an appointment for him for the next day, because she was concerned enough about that much weight loss. I should note that I did have a lot of fluids during my labor. So what was later kind of decided was that his birth weight was likely inflated because of that. Like, he got the fluid that I got also, so he had a lot of water weight. So we don't know what his birth weight, like what his actual birth weight would have been if he had not had that fluid. So that probably skewed things a bit. But anyway, so got an appointment with the pediatrician for the next day, went in, and he had lost a little bit more, and so we were then on, like, going in twice a week at least for weight checks. I was put on some supplements to help boost my milk supply. We were never pressured to use formula by our doctor. Our family doctor is a naturopathic doctor. So very supportive of breastfeeding. She also is a certified midwife, although she does not attend births right now. She used to, but so really supportive of breastfeeding, really no pressure for formula. Said that we could do it if we wanted, but if that would make it easier or make us feel better, then that was certainly something we could talk about, but wasn't something we needed to really consider. So it took us a while to kind of get things under control and for him to gain back up to his birth weight. I think he was almost a month old, maybe three to 4 weeks by the time he got back up to his birth weight. So we kind of started out with a bit of a rocky nursing relationship. I was having to make sure that I was nursing him really frequently early on. I had some engorgement issues when my milk came in, and that took a while to resolve. And so it was just kind of like a lot of stuff. That stuff kind of calmed down and smoothed out. And then we were dealing with silent reflux, or colic, or, whatever. He was just really, really fussy, and he was especially fussy when it came to nursing, when it came to eating. So our nursing sessions a lot of times would end with him just screaming, and that was stressful. It was hard on me. I'm sure it was hard on him, and we didn't have like from the get-go that kind of warm, fuzzy bond nursing relationship kind of thing, but that came later. And once that kind of calmed down and I cut some stuff out of my diet, and he started doing better, it became much more of the positive experience that I wanted it to be. And I can now, looking back at it, say more positively that things were good. At the time, it was frustrating. He nursed very frequently for a long, long time, but I now miss it. So, you know, hindsight and all of that. We waited until he was 9 months old to introduce any solids, partly because I was concerned, like, he had already had such a rough time, and I didn't want to throw anything into the mix to possibly make things bad again. So we waited until 9 months to introduce solids. He really didn't, excuse me, he really didn't start eating a ton of solids until he was probably maybe 10 and a half, 11 months. But he really, you know, he liked them. He took to them. We did baby-led weaning, so we didn't do purees. He had solid food from the start, and that was great. Excuse me. And we hit a year, and like that had been my initial goal. There had been a point when Lex was maybe 7 or 8 months old, when I kind of broke down, was like, I can't do this anymore. This is too stressful. He was waking up a lot at night and needing to nurse, and like I felt like it was just a lot on me, and I considered supplementing with formula to kind of make it easier, but ultimately didn't do that, partly because I had a good freezer stash. So our doctor was like, we're not even going to discuss supplementing with formula until you've used up what's in the freezer. So I didn't end up really even using it. I actually still have a little bit of milk that I need to either give to Lex or throw out. So I really didn't use much in the freezer stash. So we made it to a year, and right before he turned a year was when things kind of got super stressful. Eric was in the hospital. My husband was in the hospital, ended up getting diagnosed with leukemia, and the stress of all of that, I think, along with the fact that he was a year and he was eating lots of solids and all of this, affected his wanting to nurse. So he started nursing much less frequently. So he had been nursing about every probably 3 to 4 hours during the day, and a few times at least at night. And it just started plummeting. And it got to the point where he would nurse probably around by the time he was about 14 months or so. He would nurse in the morning, and he would nurse before bed. Sometimes, occasionally, he would nurse another time during the day. He wasn't nursing at night anymore, which on the positive side meant that he was basically sleeping through the night. I know that doesn't always go hand in hand, but he started sleeping through the night around 13 and a half months or so, pretty consistently. So around 14 months, he had cut down to like 2, maybe 3 nursing sessions a day. They were not very long. A lot of times they only happened because I really asked him and was trying to really encourage him. And over the next couple of months, it got to be less and less him wanting it, and more me not being ready to give it up. So by the time he was about 16 months, I think he really was done. But I was really trying to encourage him to keep going as long as we could. He was at that point down to just nursing first thing in the morning, and it was maybe for a minute or two, and that was it. So when he was 16 and a half months, I offered one morning a couple of times, and he just flat out was not interested. So that was it. And of course I didn't know the day before that was going to be the last time, and I kept offering for a couple of days, and he just wasn't interested. So he was done. He eats really well, not so into vegetables, but you know, he really loves food, and I am glad at least that he was the one who kind of made the decision, and that it wasn't me that enforced it. But I had always thought that like we would keep going much longer than that, and my background of growing up is my mother was a leche league leader for a very, very long time, like 20 years. She nursed, I have 3 siblings, so there's 4 of us. She nursed all of us until we were well past kind of the norm. We were like 3 or 4 by the time we were fully weaned. So I just kind of thought that was the norm. And so it's been hard. It's been emotional. I miss it. I now, looking back, really miss those newborn times, even though I know they were super stressful and really hard. I miss those nighttime nursing sessions when he was little, where I could just kind of lie on my side and he would nurse off and on. And so looking back, there's a lot that I miss. I am really proud of what we managed to accomplish with it. I'm really proud that I never had to supplement with formula, because for me that was something that I really didn't want to do. So ultimately I'm glad of what we accomplished, but it's sad that it's over. And I have gained a lot of confidence, and really am happy with that I persevered. And even in those moments when I wasn't sure that I was gonna make it and we were gonna be able to continue, I managed to keep pushing on and get through that day and the next day and just keep going. So so if any of you are in those early stages, or really frustrated, or like at your wit's end, and really don't want to stop, or don't want to supplement, just make it through that next nursing session, make it through that day, and then, you know, reconsider it the next day, because things might be a little easier, might be a little different, and things do get easier and better as kids, in my experience anyway, as they get older. So that's kind of my overview and looking back on my nursing relationship, my nursing experience with my son. And I look forward to having probably a totally different nursing relationship when I have another baby. But I definitely look forward to nursing again, because I think it was a really positive experience for both of us. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.